You're not losing trades, you're panicking them away. Every single time the price moves a little against you, your heartbeat changes, your breathing gets shallow, your finger hovers over the mouse, and suddenly all that confidence you had 5 minutes ago disappears. You don't wait for confirmation. You don't wait for your plan, you just want the pain to stop. So you click, you exit, and for a few seconds, you feel relief. Then the chart keeps moving, straight to your target. Without you, and in that moment, it hits harder than the loss itself. Not anger at the market, anger at yourself. Because deep down, you know this wasn't bad analysis. This wasn't a bad strategy. This was you. Let me say this clearly, and I want you to really the market is not taking money from you. Your own mind is. And if you don't understand this, you'll keep repeating the same cycle, no matter how many indicators you add. No matter how many strategies you buy, no matter how many videos you watch. Think about your last trade. You probably entered with confidence. You saw the setup. Everything made sense. But the moment the trade went slightly red, your brain changed the story. Suddenly it wasn't, this is part of the plan. Suddenly it was, what if I'm wrong? What if this turns into a big loss? What if I lose again? That voice doesn't come from logic, it comes from fear. And fear doesn't care about probabilities, risk management, or long-term consistency. Fear only cares about one thing: stopping discomfort right now. That's why you close winners too early. That's why you move stop losses. That's why you revenge trade after a loss, trying to erase the emotional pain instead of following your rules. And the worst part. After it happens, you sit there blaming yourself, thinking you lack discipline, thinking you're weak, thinking maybe trading just isn't for you. But here's the truth: nobody tells you this reaction is not a personal flaw. It's biology. Your brain was designed to keep you alive, not to make you money. Thousands of years ago, fear saved your life. Today, that same fear destroys your trading account. The market triggers the same part of your brain that reacts to danger. A red candle feels like a threat. A losing trade feels like failure. And your brain responds the only way it knows how: escape. This is why smart people often struggle more in trading. Because they think more. They imagine more outcomes. They feel losses deeper. They analyze themselves into paralysis. You don't need more intelligence to win in trading. You need emotional control. And control doesn't mean you stop feeling fear. It means you stop obeying it. Right now, most of you are trading to feel safe, not to be profitable. You want reassurance. You want certainty. You want the market to reward you quickly so you can relax. But markets don't work like that. They reward patience, repetition, and rule following. They punish emotional decision-making. And if you're honest with yourself, most of your losses didn't come from not knowing what to do. They came from not doing what you already knew. You knew where your stop loss was. You knew your target. You knew the setup was valid. But in the moment, your emotions took control, and logic left the room. That's why switching strategies doesn't fix the problem. That's why copying other traders doesn't fix the problem. That's why even when you learn something new, your results don't change. Because the problem isn't on the chart. It's between your ears. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. How many times have you broken your own rules and then promised yourself you wouldn't do it again? How many times have you said, next trade, I'll be disciplined, only to repeat the same mistake under pressure? That's not because you're careless. It's because you haven't trained your mind to handle uncertainty. Trading is the only profession where you can do everything right and still lose. And if your mind can't accept that, it will sabotage you every time. This is where most traders give up. They think the answer is more motivation, more confidence, more positivity. It's not. The answer is acceptance. Accepting that losses are part of the job. Accepting that discomfort is unavoidable. Accepting that you don't control outcomes, only execution. The moment you stop trying to avoid pain in trading, your decisions change. The moment you stop needing every trade to win, consistency becomes possible. And here's something that might surprise you: profitable traders don't feel less fear than you. They just don't let fear make decisions for them. They feel the same tension, the same uncertainty, the same emotional pull, but they've trained themselves to follow rules even when it feels uncomfortable. They don't trade to feel good. They trade to be consistent. If this video feels like it's describing you, that's not an accident. Most traders are stuck in this exact mental loop, and they don't even realize it. They think the market is against them. They think they're unlucky. They think they need a better strategy. But until you fix the way you respond to fear, nothing changes. And if you keep letting your mind run the show, the market will keep teaching you the same painful lesson over and over again. Now here's the dangerous illusion most traders live with. They think the goal of trading is to win. It's not. The goal is to follow rules. And the moment you confuse those two, your psychology collapses. Because winning is out of your control, but execution isn't. When you enter a trade secretly hoping it must work, you've already lost. You've emotionally attached yourself to the outcome, and the market punishes attachment brutally. This is where your mind starts negotiating. Maybe I'll close half early. Maybe I'll move my stop just a little. This time feels different. And every time you listen to that voice, you teach your brain a dangerous lesson: emotions are allowed to drive decisions. Once that habit forms, it doesn't disappear. It compounds. That's why losing traders don't just lose money, they lose trust in themselves. And without self-trust, discipline is impossible. Let me break something for you right now. Confidence does not come before consistency. It comes after. Most beginners wait to feel confident before following rules. Professionals follow rules even when they feel uncomfortable, uncertain, and emotionally exposed. That's the difference. You don't become disciplined because you feel good. You feel good because you've been disciplined long enough to see results. This is where most people quit. Because the brain hates delayed rewards. Your mind wants instant feedback. It wants reassurance now, not after 50 trades. But trading doesn't care about your need for comfort. It rewards repetition. It rewards patience. It rewards boring behavior. And boring behavior feels painful to an emotional mind. Here's the truth nobody likes to admit: traders are addicted to emotional stimulation. They say they want consistency, but they trade like gamblers. Big position sizes, constant chart watching, emotional highs when they win, emotional crashes when they lose. That's not trading. That's dopamine chasing. And the market is the worst place to bring an addiction, because it will exploit it every single time. When you trade like this, losses feel personal, wins feel like validation, and your identity becomes tied to the outcome of each trade. That's why one loss ruins your day. That's why one win makes you overconfident. You're not managing risk. You're managing emotions and failing at it. Professional traders think differently. They don't ask, will this trade win? They ask, did I execute my plan correctly? That one shift changes everything. A losing trade executed perfectly is a success. A winning trade executed emotionally is a failure. If you don't understand this, you'll always feel confused by your results. You'll feel like the market is random, unfair, and against you. In reality, the market is neutral. It doesn't know you exist. It simply exposes how you behave under uncertainty. And most people behave badly when they don't know what will happen next. This is why mindset work is not motivation. It's training. You are training your brain to sit with discomfort without reacting. You are training yourself to let trades play out without interference. You are training patience like a muscle, and just like the gym, it feels weak at first. You will fail. You will slip. You will break rules again. That doesn't mean you're hopeless. It means you're early in the process. The mistake is expecting perfection instead of progress. Every time you follow your rules despite fear, you're rewiring your brain. Every time you don't, you reinforce the old pattern. There is no neutral ground. Here's another hard truth: if you need the money from trading right now, your psychology is already compromised. Urgency creates pressure. Pressure creates fear. Fear creates bad decisions. That's why most profitable traders treat trading as a business, not a lifeline. They don't trade to survive. They trade to execute. When your rent, bills, or ego depend on the next trade, your brain goes into survival mode. And survival is terrible at decision making. That's when you overtrade. That's when you force setups. That's when you refuse to accept losses. Not because you don't know better, but because fear is louder than logic. Let me say this clearly. The market does not reward effort. It rewards alignment. You can study for years and still lose if your mindset is wrong. You can have a simple strategy and win if your execution is consistent. That's why copying strategies rarely works long term. You're copying rules without copying the emotional discipline required to follow them. And discipline is not something you download. It's something you build, trade by trade, decision by decision. If this part of the video is uncomfortable, that's a good sign. It means you're seeing yourself clearly. Most traders never do. They stay stuck blaming indicators, brokers, news, manipulation, or bad luck. That story protects their ego, but it kills their growth. Growth starts when you take responsibility for your reactions, not the market's behavior. You can't control price. You can control preparation. You can control risk. You can control execution. And that's enough. That's all you need. In the next part, I'll show how to start taking control of your trading mind in a practical way, without fake motivation, without hype, and without pretending fear disappears. Because the goal isn't to eliminate emotions. The goal is to stop letting them trade for you. Now listen carefully, because this is where most traders either change for real or stay stuck forever. At this stage, you already know the truth. The market isn't your enemy. Your emotions are. But knowing that doesn't automatically fix anything. Control only comes when you change how you behave under pressure. Not when things are easy. Not when trades go your way. Control is built in the uncomfortable moments, the ones you usually escape from. The first thing you must lock into your mind is this: trading is not about feeling good. If you trade to feel confident, calm, or excited, you are already vulnerable. Profitable trading often feels boring, uncomfortable, and emotionally flat. And that's exactly why most people can't do it. Their brain craves stimulation. It wants action. It wants validation. The market gives just enough excitement to trap you, and just enough pain to punish you. Professionals understand this game. They don't look for excitement. They look for alignment with their rules. Here's the rule that separates amateurs from professionals. You are not allowed to judge yourself based on results. Results lie in the short term. One trade can win for the wrong reasons. One trade can lose for the right reasons. If you attach your self-worth to outcomes, you will always be emotionally unstable. Instead, judge yourself on execution only. Did you follow your plan? Did you respect your risk? Did you let the trade play out without interference? That's it. That's the scorecard. Nothing else matters. When execution becomes your identity, consistency follows naturally. Another hard truth most traders avoid: if you're constantly watching your trades, you don't trust your plan. And if you don't trust your plan, no mindset trick will save you. Constant chart watching is not discipline, it's anxiety. It's the mind looking for reassurance. Professionals place trades and step back, not because they don't care, but because they've accepted uncertainty. They understand that once a trade is placed, their job is done. Interfering only increases damage. This detachment is not coldness, it's maturity. You also need to understand this deeply: losses do not reduce your potential. Emotional reactions do. A small, controlled loss keeps you in the game. A single emotional decision can erase weeks of progress. That's why risk control is psychological protection, not just money management. When your risk is correct, fear loses power. When risk is too big, fear controls everything. Most mindset problems disappear when risk is small enough for your nervous system to tolerate. Now here's the shift that changes your future: stop trying to eliminate fear. That's impossible. Fear is part of uncertainty, and uncertainty is part of trading. The goal is not to feel fearless. The goal is to act professionally while fear is present. The moment you stop arguing with your emotions and start ignoring their instructions, you gain control. Emotions can speak, they just can't drive. At some point, you must make a decision, not about a trade, but about who you are as a trader. Are you someone who reacts or someone who executes? Are you here to be right or to be consistent? Are you chasing excitement or building a process? This decision doesn't happen once. It happens every day, every trade, every moment you feel the urge to interfere. And every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen the version of yourself that actually wins. If you've stayed until now, understand this: most traders never reach this level of honesty. They quit blaming strategies, then quit trading entirely. You didn't. That already puts you ahead. Trading success doesn't come from talent or intelligence. It comes from self-control under uncertainty. And that is a skill you can train if you're willing to be uncomfortable long enough. Fix your mind and the market stops feeling hostile. Ignore it, and the market becomes an expensive teacher. The choice is yours: every single trade,